Right now on Good Morning Northwest, a man from Wapato is sentenced to federal prison after assaulting someone in his home. We have the details on the case. And an update on the fire at the Nob Hill Auto Wrecking Company that burned about 100 cars. The reason why firefighters are saying this will burn for weeks.
And of course, today is going to be another hot day, and we also have some big time fire impacts to talk about. So I'll tell you what that means coming up right now.
This is Apple Valley News Now. Good morning, Northwest, on your side.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Good Morning Northwest. I'm Jessica Jalal. It is 5 a.m. on Friday, July 12th. We'll check in right away on your forecast with our chief meteorologist, Josh Colbreth. Josh, first, are you excited that it's Friday? And second, how hot are we getting this weekend?
Yes and yes. No, it'll be thankfully not as hot as what we felt like just a couple days back, but it's still going to be pretty hot out there. For this morning, we are mild/warm, just like with yesterday morning. 50s, 60s, and 70s for the Kittitas and Yakima valleys. We're in the 50s and 60s for the lower Columbia Basin, and low to mid 60s, even some upper 60s for the foothills of the Blue Mountains. A little bit later today, we're going to be right back around 100 degrees for the Tri-Cities, 98 for Ellensburg, 97 for Walla Walla. So this will place us still at about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. And given that we're still hot and the fuels are still dry, that means that we're going with another first alert extreme impact fire day for today. It goes for the whole viewing area, but in the Kittitas Valley, that's where the winds are going to be the breeziest. So for today, avoid tossing burning cigarettes on the ground, avoid parking hot vehicles on dry vegetation, and gather that fire evacuation kit together right now. And I'll show you some of the metrics and some of the data to back up just how dry things are going to be for today. That's going to be coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Josh. And we start off in a crime alert this morning. A Wapato man is sentenced to 46 months in federal prison for violently assaulting a woman. According to a press release, the victim went to 40-year-old Dean Elwell's house. Court documents say Elwell accused the victim of cheating, and that's when Elwell began assaulting the victim, kicking her with steel-toe boots and stomping on her stomach. Documents say the victim eventually escaped through the bathroom window. She says she could not eat for a week from the injury sustained. Investigators say they found dried blood on Elwell's shoe, clothes, and bed sheets. He was booked on account of assault resulting in serious bodily injury with 3 years of supervised release. Now, just a reminder that if you are experiencing domestic violence or a crisis of any kind, there are resources to help you. They're on your screen now with local as well as national hotline numbers that are open 24/7. We go now to an update on the Nob Hill auto fire burning in Yakima on the Greenway. It's expected to continue for several days because it's too dangerous for firefighters to get close. The calls first started coming in Wednesday night with people reporting smoke and flames behind Nob Hill Auto Wrecking. And when firefighters arrived, they found the fire had already spread to more than an acre. That was between Wednesday night and yesterday afternoon. The fire destroyed about 100 cars at the wrecking yard. While the cause of the fire is still under investigation, they say it was likely caused by humans. The Yakima deputy fire chief says every one of these fires cost taxpayers money.
These fires cost the taxpayers a couple $100,000 to fight due to overtime, staffing, and then not only that, then the rehabilitation of the land being so close to the water's edge that it's going to the folks are going to have to get in there and do some conservation work.
Fire crews say because the fire is burning through trees, they have to stay at a distance for now due to the risk that burned limbs might fall. And in the meantime, they are asking people not to call 911 if you see smoke near the Yakima Greenway. Again, because the fire department is already on scene. Yakima Greenway will remain closed at Robertson Landing for several days. In more fire news, an update on the wildfire in Kittitas County that temporarily shut down I-82 between Yakima and Ellensburg. The Washington State Department of Transportation says the interstate has since reopened. This is near the northwest side of the Yakima Training Center. The Yakima Training Center says their firefighters worked with the Department of Natural Resources and a military helicopter crew to keep the fire to just about 4 acres. An update in Kennewick now. The Kennewick Fire Department says this fire on your screen now may have started because someone was cooking. Firefighters rushed to South William Street Wednesday night, where they found what the fire department describes as extremely high levels of heat. One person in the home has minor burns, but they did survive. However, a dog did not make it out in time. KFD says the home is destroyed. In a follow-up, the 18-year-old man who burned down a Pasco home last August will spend the next 12 years behind bars. The Franklin County prosecutor says that's longer than the typical sentence in these types of cases. The prosecutor's office says Landon James Thomas Keene pleaded guilty last month to 1 charge of first-degree arson and 2 charges of second-degree assault, and that's related to the fire last August. Prosecutors say at least 2 victims had significant and life-threatening injuries, and because of that, the judge approved a sentence much longer than the standard. Keene has also been ordered not to contact nor come anywhere near the victims for the next 50 years. Straight ahead on Good Morning Northwest, if you feel like this week has had you down in the dumps, then you might be onto something. A psychologist is telling us that extreme heat doesn't only affect your physical health, it can also affect your mental health. When we come back, we tell you what steps you can take to help prevent the heat from affecting your mental health.
Save now with Bi-Mart's latest savings book, including summer stock reduction savings. Save on a dozen ball canning jars, regular mouth $11.99, wide mouth jars are $13.99. Save on Blazer brass 9mm ammo. A 50-count box is just $11.99. Plus save $50 on an Avanti 5 cubic foot chest freezer, hot priced at $139.99. Save now with store-wide savings of up to 50% off during our summer stock reduction sale, only at Bi-Mart.
Whether you're most at home surrounded by lots of friends, hanging with your one best friend for an afternoon cruise, or...
No way! Not a chance. Could you show us something with a little less horsepower?
I was thinking the same thing.
At McCurley, we're here to help you find the vehicle that's right for you, because it's your way home.
Find your way home in a McCurley certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Tri-Cities.
Goodwill provides opportunities for those that might have barriers to employment.
Those barriers could be disabilities all the way up to recently incarcerated, and our job is to find a way to give these folks the skills to find gainful employment in the community.
We provide such a wide variety of training. Our ECC organizations can get somebody a job.
The relationships that are built through those programs gives these organizations a long-time employee if they so wish.
Goodwill. Donate, shop, impact locally.
Communist China poses an economic and national security threat to America.
And Dan Newhouse is the leader in Congress fighting for our security.
Dan stood up to Communist China and wrote the bill to stop them from buying up American farms and ranches.
And Dan's working to secure the border and stop the flow of deadly Chinese fentanyl through Mexico and into our communities.
Where Joe Biden fails us, Dan Newhouse fights for us.
I'm Dan Newhouse, and I approve this message to stand up to Communist China and to secure our border.
This is Rhonda. She's a soul line dance instructor. And this is Rhonda's Good Feet story.
I love dancing, but I had foot pain and hated the fact that I had to sit out a couple dances. But since visiting the Good Feet store and wearing the arch supports, I definitely have not felt the pain. I am able to dance longer, feel happier. My energy levels have increased. Once that energy gets into you and you're feeling good, double stands.
Get back out there with arch supports from the Good Feet store.
Looking for high quality and low prices? Then Furniture Row's Super 7-Day Sale is for you. That's 7 days to find huge savings on sofas and sectionals, accent chairs and recliners, dining groups, bar stools, bedrooms and kids' beds, mattresses, and adjustable bases. Complete the look with our massive selection of rugs and accessories, or score no interest financing until January 2029. Shop the largest selection at the lowest prices guaranteed. But don't wait. The Super 7-Day Sale at Furniture Row ends Thursday the 18th.
Operation Best Friend on Good Morning Northwest, sponsored by Windermere Group 1.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest and your health news. If you've been feeling like this week is really getting you down or making you crazy, then you might be onto something. Today we're learning that extreme heat doesn't just impact your physical health, it can also bring down your mental health.
When it comes to extreme heat, our bodies are sensitive, but so are our minds.
Studies have shown that excessive heat triggers stress, anxiety, frustration, and cognitive difficulties.
One study linked days of extreme heat with higher rates of mental health-related emergency department visits. While extreme heat doesn't cause mental health issues, it can make ones that exist even worse, says psychologist Susan Albers with the Cleveland Clinic.
When we are trying to cool down, it creates a lot of stress on the body. And this releases cortisol, the stress hormone, which triggers the fight or flight response. And this is why we may feel a little bit more agitated during heat waves.
Albers says the heat can impact our ability to get quality sleep, which is strongly tied to mental health. To help your mood in the heat, get things like errands done in the morning or evening to avoid the hottest hours of the day. Wear light clothing to help you keep cool. And if you get too hot, she says a cool shower or cold washcloth on the back of your neck or your forehead can help. And always stay hydrated.
This is the time to pull out the popsicles, hydrating foods such as watermelons, cantaloupes, anything that is going to help you to mitigate some of the features of dehydration, which really drag down our mental health.
Albers says that if you are feeling irritable or sensitive right now, be aware these feelings may be a reaction to the extreme heat. She says to be mindful and give yourself a break.
All great tips. And coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, a fire in Oregon is burning over 10,000 acres, and firefighters say the high temperatures are aiding the fire. We've got the update on the latest. But first, Chief Meteorologist Josh Colbreth will let us know if our weather here is adding to fire danger. Keep it right here. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Why do you Goodwill? Well, there are countless reasons.
I come for the thrill of a deal, and I never miss out on the 50% off tag.
I like to hunt the bins for hidden gems.
Goodwill lets you define your style with unique gifts and treasures around every corner.
And giving back to your community just feels wonderful.
With hundreds of reasons to shop at Goodwill, you can feel great about knowing 95.7 cents of every dollar you spend helps your community. Goodwill. Donate, shop, impact locally.
I'm Eduardo Morfin. Morfin Law Firm thanks you for 5 years of support. Remember, when choosing an attorney, select a local attorney that supports your local community.
A lot is changing in our community right now. New roads, new schools, and new opportunities. We're growing, and that means there are more cars on our streets than ever before. That's why we're expanding our facilities and services. So no matter what roads lie ahead, you'll always find your way home.
Find your way home in a new 2024 Chevy Silverado with financing as low as 1.9% from McCurley Chevrolet.
Warning, your air conditioner unit needs service. Would you like me to call Bruce?
Yes, call Bruce.
Thanks to today's modern technology, it's never been easier to call Bruce Heating and Air. When your AC unit needs serviced, call Bruce.
Oh my gosh.
Let's get this party started. Just make sure you call the right Bruce.
Now through September 30th, receive rebates up to $1,850 off on a new Daikin Fit system when you finance through Bruce Heating and Air. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Welcome to Beaver Valley Lodge, your rustic lodging and event venue in the beautiful Leavenworth, Washington. Experience the great outdoors and enjoy the beauty of the mountains as you stay with us on our 50 acres in the Cascade Foothills. Whether you're joining us for a wedding, retreat, vacation, or family reunion, we're here to make your stay unforgettable. We make it our goal for you to come as a guest, but leave as a friend. Book your stay today at beavervalleylodge.com.
With the latest looks arriving monthly, there's always something new to love at Furniture Row, like the Krisha Sleeper Sectional. Boasting luxurious comfort, several layouts, and 2 colors, the Krisha elevates any home with stylish practicality. Or dine on the Traverse City with a weathered chestnut finish and book-matched pattern. This rustic contemporary set is great for gatherings of any size. And for your bedroom, the Levita features a cool natural look with simulated live-edge cuts and a casual contemporary appeal. Find these fresh new looks and more now at Furniture Row.
The White Card, a powerful resource for former Hanford and DOE employees. If you worked in the area and have come down with cancer, lung disease, Parkinson's, or renal failure, you may be eligible for financial compensation and healthcare services. A simple phone call can get the process started. Atomic Home Health. Don't wait. Call today.
Operation Best Friend on Good Morning Northwest, sponsored by Windermere Group 1.
From Apple Valley News Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Josh Colbreth.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. It's still another mild/warm morning out there with 50s, 60s, and 70s for the Kittitas and Yakima valleys. Also 50s and 60s for the lower Columbia Basin and 60s for the foothills of the Blue Mountains. Here's your hour-by-hour for today for the Tri-Cities. Going to be up around 100 degrees for today when it's all said and done. So for today, you'll have highs that'll end up being about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year, just about as hot as it was for yesterday. So right around 100 for the Kittitas and Yakima valleys. The same thing for the lower Columbia Basin, and will probably be just shy of 100 degrees for the foothills of the Blue Mountains. We will have some winds today, gusting out of the north and west upwards of 25 miles per hour, mainly just for the Kittitas Valley. Today is going to be another first alert extreme impact fire day, as the fire fuels are going to be very energized once again. The fire fuel energy in terms of historical percentiles still up into the 98th percentile for Kittitas and Yakima counties, up into the 97th percentile for the lower Columbia Basin, and up into the 99th percentile for the Blue Mountains. We've gotten pretty lucky this week when it's come to fire starts, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the luck will continue, especially as we continue to have more weather like this. Now for tonight, some of those winds from the Kittitas Valley could spill over into the Yakima Valley, so they could still gust upwards of maybe 20 to 25 miles per hour. But other than that, more clear skies and more overnight lows that are going to resemble what we have for this morning, as we should be in the 60s for the Yakima and Kittitas valleys. We'll also be in the 60s for the lower Columbia Basin, the same thing for the foothills of the Blue Mountains. Highs will be actually a little bit hotter for Saturday, a little bit closer to 105. You can see for the next 7 days, our highs are really just going to bounce between 100 and 105, at least in the Tri-Cities. So we have more prolonged hot weather. That means that we'll have more dry fuels, which is why we're going with more first alert extreme impact fire days for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for the entire viewing area, as there will be that risk for a large fire start over 100 acres. So for Saturday, it's really just going to be an extension of the fuels that we have for today, as fire fuel energy is going to be up into the 98th percentile for Kittitas and Yakima counties, up into the 97th percentile for the lower Columbia Basin, and then up into the 99th percentile for the Blue Mountains. And then we're tracking these thunderstorm chances very closely for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, because if we do have lightning over dry fuels, that would also pose a risk for fire starts. Here's a 7-day forecast for the Cascades. We'll see a return to 80s by Tuesday and Wednesday, but 70s other than that. For the Kittitas Valley, we'll see winds picking up for Sunday and Monday, and then small thunderstorm chances for Tuesday and Wednesday. For the Yakima Valley, we'll still be hovering around 100 for the next week. And then for the lower Columbia Basin, highs will, like I said, they'll be bouncing between 100 and 105. For the foothills of the Blue Mountains, looks like we maybe breach 100 for Saturday and then again on Wednesday. And then for the Blue Mountains, very dry fuels, tracking that lightning potential specifically for Wednesday.
Thank you, Josh. And our neighbors in Oregon are also seeing those high temperatures, and this is not helping the firefighters who are battling the Larch Creek fire that started Tuesday and is burning over 10,000 acres in Wasco County. Take a look.
This is the original Oregonian. This is how it's been. The people over here get together.
From all over the state, they've come. Fire departments, state agencies, and private landowners alike, doing what they can to extinguish this Larch Creek fire.
All the outside agencies that are here has all been great assets for us. They are resources. It saved our town yesterday. It did. It saved our town yesterday.
Tye Valley Fire Chief Paula Plant is among the grateful residents, hoping this fire, which has already spread over 10,500 acres in 3 days, will soon finally meet its end.
Fire is fire. You just can't tell what it's going to do.
With Governor Tina Kotek issuing an emergency conflagration warning, 9 counties have already answered the call.
And being able to just help them and be able to, really try and secure and get the community safe is huge.
With high winds and hot temperatures continuing to remain in this region, these brave men and women know they're not out of the woods just yet.
We're here for the battle. We're here for the fight.
In a last check, that fire was 0% contained, and we'll continue to update you once we learn more. And in more weather-related news, multiple states are under heat alerts again today. Now, in these areas, air conditioning could be a matter of life or death, and the death toll is growing. Studies show that the human body can start overheating when it's in the 90s, depending on humidity. Experts suggest people there stay in air conditioning, and officials think recent heat is responsible for deaths in Oregon and California. Among the fatalities in the Bay Area are people who didn't have homes. Even some cities that are cooler today have had heat alerts this summer, and research shows roads and infrastructure can make poor neighborhoods hotter than more affluent ones. When we come back on Good Morning Northwest, we're hearing a lot about older movies getting sequels like Gladiator, Freaky Friday, and now we can add another to the list. Now this one I'm super excited to share about because it's one of my favorite movies, and the hint is on your screen now. So when we come back, I might just try to do my best Meryl Streep impression. Stay tuned.
From Apple Valley News Now, this is Apple Valley Eats.
All right, so my job here is the food and beverage executive chef. I've been here 10 years. Started off here as an entry-level cook. I was given the opportunity to step into the executive chef role, which is the position that I'm in. I've been in that position for about 6 years now, almost. What I do here, I handle not so much the day-to-day operations, but everything that goes into the menu planning, the SOPs for all of the cooks, recipes, ensuring all the recipes are all the same, the consistency, the vision of the food and beverage department as far as the aesthetics, what is it gonna look like, what does the food preparation look like. We have everything from catering, fast food, employee meals, which is a cafeteria style setting, and then obviously our bread and butter, what we do, a buffet here at Legends. What we like to do here is try to keep our team members happy, try to be versatile with them, try to be flexible, whatever needs that they may have. We try to accommodate. We do have childcare here on property, so if somebody needs to drop their kids off at childcare, that option's always there. You could come into our department with no experience at all, but we're gonna show you how to hold a knife, we're gonna show you how to cut vegetables, we're gonna show you how to cut meat, we're gonna show you how to use all the equipment. Is the comfort of knowing that I'm gonna have my consistent 40 hours a week. And that goes from everywhere from a dishwasher all the way up to my position. It's another benefit of working here at Legends. I like to think of it more as a career rather than a job.
Whether you're most at home surrounded by lots of friends, hanging with your one best friend for an afternoon cruise, or
no way, not a chance. Could you show us something with a little less horsepower?
I was thinking the same thing.
at McCurley, we're here to help you find the vehicle that's right for you because it's your way home.
Find your way home in a Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle from McCurley Mazda.
Dishwasher on the fritz. Laundry giving you fits. A water heater that quits. In a world without Culligan, hard water makes life harder. Get a Culligan softener, the world's best. Put your water worries to rest.
Tonight, 2020 true crime.
A murder, a mistress, and a beloved mother shot to death.
Now tonight.
Her son is speaking out only to ABC News.
I wake up and I think, this can't be real.
2020 tonight on ABC.
Workers and the families of deceased workers who worked at the Hanford site are now eligible for compensation for diseases and illnesses. This may be in addition to compensation already being received. Smart Law will be hosting a Hanford Workers' Compensation educational dinner at their Kennewick office Thursday, August 22nd at 6 p.m. To register, call 509-735-5555. Dinner provided. Smart Law, smart choice.
Good Morning Northwest streams all day at AppleValleyNewsNow.com and our mobile apps.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. It's time for some entertainment news, but we're going to start off with some somber news. So actress Shelley Duvall, most popularly known from The Shining, has died at age 75. That's according to reports citing her longtime life partner. He says she died in her sleep at their home in Blanco, Texas, of complications from diabetes. Duvall was known for her thin physique, large expressive eyes, and powerful performances. She was starred opposite Jack Nicholson in the horror film The Shining, as I just mentioned, and she was also known for the comedy Popeye with Robin Williams. And I gave you some sad news first, but now it's time for some good news. I'm talking about a sequel to a hit movie, groundbreaking. Well, if you don't know where that line that I just said stems from, it's from the movie The Devil Wears Prada, starring Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep. And the movie is reportedly getting a sequel. This comes 20 years after the first one came out, and the original movie's producer, Wendy Feinerman, reportedly has talked Meryl Streep and Emily Blunt into being part of the sequel. But at this time, it's not known if any other cast members have agreed to sign on. Now, I will be keeping up with this as it is one of my favorite movies, and I can definitely quote majority of it, I think. Well, coming up on Good Morning Northwest, crews have been working on deactivating the base at Hanford for years. Lately, they've been focusing on keeping contaminated water from getting into the environment. Emily Goodell has the details. And President Biden held a rare solo news conference last night at the NATO summit in Washington, D.C. We have the details on what happened in just a few minutes, but first, here are your Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, Redbox disc rentals are ending. The Redbox DVD kiosks are shutting down after its parent company filed for bankruptcy. The company owes nearly $1 billion to over 500 creditors, including major retailers like Walmart and Walgreens. Next, Verizon is now offering a 5-year price lock on unlimited data for its prepaid mobile carrier, Total Wireless. The plan provides access to Verizon's 5G network without slowdowns. New customers pay $50 per month for a single line, including taxes and fees. Finally, it's Christmas in July for Hallmark fans. Hallmark launching a new streaming service for $80. Members will have access to exclusive content and rewards, including points to use in Hallmark stores. It launches in September. I'm Allison Cossack, and those are your Tech Bites. Have a good day.
At Simply Safe, your safety is the only thing that matters. We design smarter ways to detect motion for fast emergency response. We create HD cameras so you can see what's happening in your home from anywhere. All powered by Fast Protect technology. Exclusively from Simply Safe for faster police response. Get Simply Safe today with 1 free month of Fast Protect monitoring, our most advanced way to protect your home. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
On your period, sudden gushes happen. Say goodbye gush fears thanks to Always Ultra Thins with rapid dry technology that absorbs 2 times faster. Hello, clean and comfortable. Always fear no gush.
You are bountiful. Your skeleton can support 2 times your weight. It's in your nature to stand strong. Supplement your bones with high absorption magnesium. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature.
Right now on Good Morning Northwest, crews have been working on deactivating the base at Hanford for years. Recently, they've been focusing on keeping contaminated water from getting into the environment. Emily Goodell with that report. And President Joe Biden's political future hangs in the balance. We have the details on the rare solo news conference from last night.
And today is going to be another hot day, but thankfully we're past the peak of the heat wave, but again, still hot. And I'll tell you just how hot coming up right now.
This is Apple Valley News Now. Good Morning Northwest, on your side.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Good Morning Northwest. I'm Jessica Jalal, and it's Friday, July 12th. Let's check in right away on your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Josh Colbreth. Josh, are you excited for the weekend? I am, but I'm not excited for these hot temperatures we're going to see.
I am. I'm always excited for the weekend, but yeah, the heat, I think some of us are over it, and well, that's just too bad because we got more of it in the forecast. Right now, you're taking a live, beautiful look at Yakima, the sun coming up. It does look like there's a little bit of haze in the sky, and we could continue to see more of that throughout the rest of the day, but I'm not thinking that air quality is going to be too heavily impacted. Temperatures right now in the 50s, 60s, and 70s for the Yakima and Kittitas Valleys, 50s and 60s for the lower Columbia Basin, and 60s for the foothills of the Blues. So there might be some isolated pockets where we might need a jacket, but I'm thinking for the most part that's probably not going to be all that necessary. In fact, it's going to be a lot of t-shirt weather for today. By the time we get to lunchtime, already around 90 in the Tri-Cities, then we're going to end up around 100 degrees again. So for today will be about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. I'll tell you if we can expect more of this weather as we head into the weekend and into next week, and I'll also tell you what that might do for fire impacts. So all that coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Josh. And we start this half hour off in environment news. So crews have been working on deactivating the base at Hanford for years, and their latest effort is dewatering. This is where they remove contaminated water from fuel storage basins. Apple Valley News Now's Emily Goodell tells us it's an effort to keep that water from reaching the environment.
Workers are draining contaminated water from the last fuel reactor storage basin at the Hanford site, the 1.2 million gallon concrete basin located in the K West reactor.
There's basically radioactive debris and items in the basin that were placed there over the long run since the 70s, essentially stockpiling it. And that material in the basin and that water is inside the basin is shielding for that material.
The goal to remove contaminated water that could pose a risk to the Columbia River.
There's definitely a higher risk at the neighboring facility, the 105K East. They're basically the same type of reactor just next to each other. They did identify a groundwater contamination plume from that one. We have not identified a plume coming out of this one. So it's in pretty decent shape as far as we know at this point. But anytime you have contaminated water just sitting there, it's obviously more of a risk than something that's been stabilized and put into a solid form.
That's where dewatering comes in, draining the contaminated water from the basin.
We have to pump it through the system, which partially cleans it, puts it into these 8,000 gallon tankers, and then those tankers are transported to another area of the site where the water's processed.
It's a plan that's taken over a year to set in motion.
Most of it's preparation, practice, making sure the equipment works, the operators are experienced, and then the actual work itself, it doesn't take all that long.
At just 4 weeks in, they're halfway there, planning to be done with dewatering by the end of summer.
The next step would be is to filling the basin with grout, and that's to put basically radioactive shielding over the material that's in the basin.
Before they're able to start demolition. In Richland, Emily Goodell, Apple Valley News Now.
Now, officials say there's no timeline yet on the demolition process because that depends on what's allocated in the presidential budget. In developing news now, the Ben Franklin Transit Transportation Development Plan is now open to the public and ready for public feedback. This plan is a state-required document that Ben Franklin Transit has to put out every year. It's all to detail how BFT is growing as an agency, also projects that projects that are coming in the next 5 to 6 years, and how they're going to grow service or how service will be implemented during that time period. BFT's Chief Planning and Development Officer says the state bill may affect the 6-year development plan.
Keep a neutral plan. We won't be taking service away or adding any service for the next couple years. So we don't anticipate there being much of an impact unless there is a reduction in our budget due to the passage of I-2117 in November, if that does occur. So in that case, we may have to see reductions in fixed route service and our Connect service as well.
Coming up in our 6 o'clock hour, we'll tell you how you can make your voice heard with this development plan and also when it'll go into effect. Also developing, the city of Kennewick is looking for input from residents about adding more middle housing units. In 2023, the Washington State Legislature passed a bill which requires Kennewick to allow up to 4 dwelling units on every residentially zoned lot. Officials say up to 6 units are allowed if at least 2 units are designated as affordable units for a period of 50 years. Middle housing type of homes include duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and courtyard apartments. They alone need to be compatible in form, scale, and character with detached single-family dwellings. The city of Kennewick has created a new survey to get feedback from citizens on how best to implement the requirements of the bill. And to find more information, head to the City of Kennewick's website. In political news now, President Joe Biden's political future hangs in the balance. He held a rare solo news conference yesterday evening at the NATO summit, which was a major meeting with world leaders. And this was his first solo news conference since November of last year. Sherelle Hubbard has more on what Biden revealed during the news conference.
Is President Joe Biden up to the challenge of running the country for the next 4 years? Inquiring minds the world over want to know. And at Thursday evening's solo news conference, Biden with an answer.
The consideration is that I think I'm the most qualified person to run for president. I beat him once, and I will beat him again.
2 weeks ago, Biden faced off in the first presidential debate against presumed Republican nominee Donald Trump. Biden has been facing political pressure to exit the presidential race ever since, due to his poor performance. Thursday's conference has been seen as a political make or break for his political future, but a gaffe by Biden raised even more concerns and eyebrows.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president. I think she was not qualified to be president.
The news conference considered high stakes at this crucial moment in Biden's presidency and for his re-election bid. While Biden's news conference at the NATO summit may have ordinarily focused on his meeting with world leaders, this time Biden used his time to address the elephant in the room.
The idea that senators and congressmen running for office worry about the ticket is not unusual. And I might add, there are at least 5 presidents running or incumbent presidents who had lower numbers than I have now.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
15 Democratic members of Congress, including one Senator, Peter Welch of Vermont, have called on Biden to step aside. And this was the 15th time that Biden has held a solo news conference, a historically low number of news conferences compared to his most recent predecessors at this time in their presidencies. And it's time now for some community news. Walla Walla VA is hosting a summer vet fest, and that's tomorrow morning. This is so people can get information about the PACT Act, which started earlier this year. So according to the Walla Walla VA, it's easy to get information out to the veterans who see them, but a lot harder to reach the veterans who don't visit the VA. So through the PACT Act, veterans' eligibility to receive health care has expanded for conditions that may have occurred during military service. Scott Kelter, the medical center director with the Walla Walla VA, explains that service-connected conditions are now considered presumptive.
Veterans don't have to prove that if they have this condition and served at that point in time and in a certain location, they don't have to prove that that condition is connected to their service. VA presumes that that condition that they might have is connected to their service.
Kelter explains that many veterans who were previously not eligible or were rejected for claims may be eligible now, and staff will be on site to explain tomorrow. This event is happening on the Walla Walla VA campus on the parade field from 9 a.m. to noon Saturday, and there's also going to be activities for the entire family. Now, an event that starts today and goes through Sunday is the Pendleton Whiskey Music Fest. Now, this festival attracts lots of visitors and therefore increases the traffic in the area. In response to this, Oregon State Police is ramping up patrols in the Pendleton area from today through the 14th. Troopers will be on the lookout for impaired driving, so reminder to practice safety when having fun. Coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, the city of Pasco invited people to bring any ideas they have for walk-up food windows for the Pasco Specialty Kitchen. Riley Fitzgerald was there, and when we come back, she shares with us more details on this opportunity for entrepreneurs and businesses. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Allen Brecky Law Offices recruits and trains only the best. For over 30 years, Allen Brecky Law Offices has been working for your rights. Call 735-0546 to find out what your rights are under the law. They're waiting to help you.
There's nothing more exhilarating this time of year than traveling the open road in an RV. At Broadmoor RV, our family has been so dedicated to helping you discover America the Beautiful. We make it a point to carry the top brands in the industry at prices you can afford. That's why Broadmoor RV is the #1 travel trailer dealer in Washington State. Family owned and operated for almost 30 years. Broadmoor RV Superstore, your destination store in Pasco.
Tiffany Smiley is not who she says she is.
Tiffany Smiley started a PAC claiming to raise money to support conservative candidates, but contributions were funneled to pay off her own $1 million campaign debt.
Of the almost $800,000 she raised, only $24,800 went to candidates. Instead, Tiffany used the money on luxury travel and to try to pay off her massive debt.
Tiffany Smiley deceived her donors. Don't let her deceive you.
I'm Dan Newhouse, and I approve this message.
The Make It Ford summer sales event is on. I want that. So make it your best summer ever with Ford. Give me some more. Adventure big in a Ford Bronco. Bring it all with the capability of Ford F-150 and the all-electric F-150 Lightning. Or go hands-free on the highway with Ford Blue Cruise. Available on select vehicles, including Explorer. It's the Make It Ford summer sales event. So make it yours. Make it now at your Ford dealer today.
At McCurley, we're here to help you find the vehicle that's right for you. Whether you're most at home surrounded by lots of friends, hanging with your one best friend for an afternoon cruise, or
no way, not a chance. Could you show us something with a little less horsepower?
Absolutely. I was thinking the same thing.
because it's more than a vehicle. It's your way home.
Find your way home in a Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle from McCurley Mazda.
Statistics show most traffic accidents happen a short distance from home, so stay alert and buckle up for safety. But if you get injured, call Allen Brecky Law Offices. Call 735-0546. They're waiting to help you.
Stacy Lee, she's on your side. Apple Valley News Now First Alert Weather.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. Check this out. The city of Pasco is inviting people, entrepreneurs, to bring their unique ideas and proposals for walk-up food windows for the Pasco Specialty Kitchen. Riley Fitzgerald takes us to Pasco to share with us more about this opportunity for local businesses.
These are the walk-up windows at the Pasco Specialty Kitchen. Storefronts right here on 4th Avenue aimed at creating a bustling hub of creativity and community engagement. Right now, the city is looking for proposals for new food businesses to utilize the commercial kitchen and market space.
The opportunity includes for people to get to know your product. People get to know who you are, and eventually you grow, and people like you, where you're gonna have your own restaurant, and you're already gonna have your fan base.
The city is looking for something different than what downtown Pasco has. The advice to someone looking to expand or start their business: apply. This is what the city is looking for in their application.
The business plan would be one of the big things that we're going to be looking into, the financial plan, the hours, the menu, and of course, marketing.
The Pasco Specialty Kitchen is located at 110 South 4th Avenue in Pasco, and the proposal submission deadline is July 23rd at 2 p.m. Find out on AppleValleyNewsNow.com how to submit the proposal and to read about the requirements. Reporting in Pasco for Good Morning Northwest, I'm Riley Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Riley. And coming up next on Good Morning Northwest, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has a warning for drivers who've purchased a used car, and it has something to do with the airbags. When we come back, we tell you what you need to know. But first, Chief Meteorologist Josh Colbreth will have your first alert for forecast. Keep it right here. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Good Morning Northwest streams all day at AppleValleyNewsNow.com and our mobile apps.
Need a new furry pal? It's Operation Best Friend from Apple Valley News Now. Each Wednesday, we'll feature lovable pets from area shelters wanting forever homes. Operation Best Friend from Windermere Group 1 and Apple Valley News Now.
Let's go. Come on. Press him or pass him. Press my luck. Let's go. L-U-C-K.
Press Your Luck season premiere, ABC Thursday.
Okay, ideas. Where are we going?
I got one.
What about a comedy show?
I've seen you. I've swiped on you. No.
Oh, I got an idea.
I feel hungry.
Let's go.
Whatever your vibe.
Tacos. Definitely tacos.
Find it in the all-new, all-hybrid Camry. Toyota, let's go places.
How do you picture your retirement? Is it full of connection with the people you love? Are you enjoying life's greatest joys? Can you conveniently access healthcare services from home? This is senior living with Avamere at Englewood Heights. Avamere is more than just a home. It's an active retirement lifestyle. Experience assisted living and memory care that's more than just a home. Schedule your tour today.
Here's to feeling at home on mountain trails, playing by the river all day, exploring your favorite off-beaten paths and terrains, or simply savoring your favorite foods. Here's to Subaru season. Experience all our hometown summers have to offer with the new Subaru Outback from McCurley Subaru. Your way home.
Get a new Subaru Outback from McCurley Subaru today with 2.9% financing.
These are real people seeking solutions to real problems.
I have plantar fasciitis.
Pain with my feet, my knees, hips, and back.
And then they were fit with Good Feet arch supports.
I definitely feel the heel-to-toe walk.
I'm not feeling any pain, especially in my heel. That's where I always feel it.
I don't feel the knee pain. I didn't notice any pain in my back. I feel like I could walk all day in these.
Oh, you're a blessing in disguise.
Try them for yourself with a free arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
It's the all-new Apple Valley News Now weekend with local news, regional news, first alert weather, and much more every Saturday and Sunday, including a complete wrap-up Sunday night at 11. Apple Valley News Now weekend from Apple Valley News Now, always on your side.
Want a family 4-pack of tickets to Dust Devils baseball? Enter right now on our mobile app or click on contest at applevalleyNewsNow.com. Fireworks night with the Dust Devils, July 20th. See you at the game.
From Apple Valley News Now, first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Josh Colbreth.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. It's still another mild/warm morning out there with 50s, 60s, and 70s for the Kittitas and Yakima Valleys, 50s, 60s, and 70s for the Lower Columbia Basin, and 50s and 60s for the foothills of the Blue Mountains. A little bit later today, it's going to be another scorcher out there, folks, but we're still past the peak of the heat wave, but we're still about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. So we'll be right around 100 for the Kittitas and Yakima Valleys, right around 100 for the Lower Columbia Basin, and just shy of 100 for the foothills of the Blue Mountains. Winds will be gusting out of the north and west, upwards of 25 miles per hour for the Kittitas Valley, but that's about it in terms of the wind gust. Now, in terms of fire fuel energy, well, it's still going to be way up there for today, as in terms of historical percentiles, we'll be into the 98th percentile for Kittitas and Yakima counties, up into the 97th percentile for the Lower Columbia Basin, and up into the 99th percentile for the Blue Mountains. We've gotten very lucky this week in that we haven't had many fire starts at all, but that doesn't necessarily mean that our luck's going to continue today or into the weekend or the next week. So still exercise all the fire vigilance. Now for tonight, some of the winds from the Kittitas Valley could spill over into the Yakima Valley, so they could still gust out of the north and west, upwards of 20, 25 miles per hour. But other than that, skies will be clear. Overnight lows will resemble what we have for this morning, with 60s for the Kittitas and Yakima Valleys, 60s also for the Lower Columbia Basin, and 60s as well for the foothills of the Blue Mountains. Temperatures will actually rebound a little bit into Saturday, closer to 105 as opposed to 100, and that's really going to be the story over the next 7 days, as our highs in the Tri-Cities are just going to hover between 100 and 105, which could put us up for a record, the longest streak of days where we hit 100 degrees. We'll definitely have more to say about that into next week. And just given that this is going to be more prolonged heat, that means that our fuels are going to continue to be very dry. So this will continue to be a first alert extreme impact fire day, or a set of days for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. goes for the entire viewing area. Here's a look at some of the fire fuel energy metrics for tomorrow, which is just really an extension of today. We'll be up into the 98th percentile for Kittitas and Yakima counties, up into the 97th percentile for the lower Columbia Basin, and up into the 99th percentile for the Blue Mountains. So still a powder keg of an environment, and maybe that's going to be compounded by some of these lightning chances we have for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Here is the 7-day forecast for the Cascades. We'll return to the 80s for Tuesday and Wednesday, but 70s other than that. Then for the Kittitas Valley, winds picking up for Sunday and Monday. Also some small thunderstorm chances for Tuesday and Wednesday. For the Yakima Valley, still hovering around 100 degrees for the next week. And then for the lower Columbia Basin, again, our highs will sort of float between 100 and 105. So still very hot stuff. Then for the foothills of the Blues, looks like we're going to breach 100 degrees for Saturday and Wednesday, 90s for all the other days. And then for the Blue Mountains, very dry fuels. So of course that means that the stakes are going to be raised with that lightning chance for Wednesday.
Thank you, Josh. And now to an alert. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has a warning for drivers who purchased a used car. So get your airbags checked. The agency says cheap, substandard replacement airbags were tied to 3 deaths and 2 serious injuries in the past year. The faulty airbag parts are typically imported and do not adhere to quality standards. The NHTSA says the airbags may deploy partially or too slowly, or they can send large metal fragments into the driver's and passengers' chests, necks, eyes, and faces. The agency says to check a used vehicle's history report, and if the car has been in a crash, have a mechanic inspect the airbags to make sure the replacement parts are genuine. When we come back on Good Morning Northwest, we now officially know all the U.S. athletes that will be participating in the Olympics. And there's one state that has the most athletes hailing from it. We'll tell you which state when we come back.
You're gonna need a new bumper.
Did you say burger? Guac?
Teriyaki sauce, burger, pineapple, cheese, burger, pineapple, cheese, teriyaki.
Brace yourself, the new teriyaki burger, only at Carl's Jr.
Hey, burger! Get burger.
Save now with stock reduction savings in Bi-Mart's latest savings book, including $50 off an Avanti 5 cubic foot chest freezer. Bi-Mart, your employee-owned membership store.
Want to test drive U.S. Cellular's nationwide 5G coverage for free?
Here we go.
Hey, I wonder if U.S. Cellular lets me stream in my... Yep, it's working.
Download the U.S. Cellular Tri-Us app today.
There's nothing more exhilarating this time of year than traveling the open road in an RV. At Broadmoor RV, our family has been so dedicated to helping you discover America the Beautiful. We make it a point to carry the top brands in the industry at prices you can afford. That's why Broadmoor RV is the #1 travel trailer dealer in Washington State. Family owned and operated for almost 30 years. Broadmoor RV Superstore, your destination store in Pasco.
Attention all Hanford and PNNL workers and contractors. Join United Energy Workers Healthcare for a free lunch and learn resource fair on Friday, July 19th at the Three Rivers Convention Center in Kennewick from 11 to 2 p.m. You may qualify for additional healthcare benefits and financial compensation. Learn more at our free lunch and learn resource fair on Friday, July 19th at the Three Rivers Convention Center in Kennewick from 11 to 2 p.m.
Workers and the families of deceased workers who worked at the Hanford site are now eligible for compensation for diseases and illnesses. This may be in addition to compensation already being received. Smart Law will be hosting a Hanford Workers' Compensation educational dinner at their Kennewick office Thursday, August 22nd at 6 p.m. To register, call 509-735-5555. Dinner provided. Smart Law, smart choice.
Are you waking up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, maybe even ringing in your ears, all because you're grinding and clenching your teeth at night? That's exactly what was going on with me. That's when I found this, the Brux Night Guard. Now the Brux Night Guard redirects the bite force away from the back teeth, reducing jaw pain while still protecting the teeth. This unique design is what makes Bruck's Night Guard different from all other traditional grind guards. Go to brucksnightguard.com and order yours today.
Is that Carl's Jr.'s 2 for $6 double take deal? I get 2 charcoal cheesy, juicy, crunchy, melty, spicy choices for $6? I need to do a double take. 2 irresistible items, $6. Only at Carl's Jr.
Hey, burger! Get burger.
ET and Extra, tonight at 7 on Apple Valley News Now.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. Let's go ahead and get close to home with some of these hyper-local temperatures. 54 at Snoqualmie Pass, but you start to go down deeper into the Kittitas Valley. We see some 60s, and we're right at 70 for Vantage. Down into the Yakima Valley, 50s, 60s, and 70s, so a wide array. We're always a little bit cooler there in Sunnyside. Not sure if that's a microclimate thing, not sure if that's just a sensor thing, but if you want to use the buddy system of sorts, the official temperature in the Tri-Cities is also in the 50s, and some of those adjacent temperatures are in the 60s. So, yeah, I think you kind of get the gist for Benton and Franklin counties. And then for the foothills of the Blue Mountains, 50s and 60s, although we are much cooler in the higher terrain of Meacham and Ukiah with 40s and 50s.
Thank you, Josh. And check this out now. So the 2024 Paris Olympics are just about 2 weeks away, and we now know all the athletes representing the U.S. at the Games. Nearly 600 athletes across 31 different sports will be sporting the red, blue, and white flag colors. The athletes age range from 16 years old to 60 years old, with 32 of them being teens. And there are more women than men, 314 to be exact. And the contestants come from 46 out of the 51 states, with Maine, North Dakota, West Virginia, and Wyoming being the only ones not sending anyone. And the state sending the most athletes, California holds that honor. Nearly 1 in 5 athletes on the team are from California. And the 2024 Paris Olympics kicks off July 26th. In some business news now, new numbers released show we're all getting a break on inflation as prices dropped for the first time since the pandemic. But analysts say there's still a long way to go. Brian Abel explains.
This is certainly good news on the inflation front.
In a new report, overall inflation beating economist expectations with a sharper annual slowdown in June to 3% from May's 3.3%.
1 in a row is not a streak. We need to see more of that in months ahead. But I think we're hopeful now, just because we're starting to see signs now that we haven't seen for the past few years.
The Consumer Price Index report by the Bureau of Labor Statistics showing from month to month something we haven't seen in 4 years, a drop in consumer prices by 0.1%, a small but potentially significant swing. The change fueled in part by falling gas, as well as new and used car prices, while housing, food, and medical service costs still rise.
This, coupled with the report on the jobs market last week, all of that aligning for the Federal Reserve to begin cutting interest rates perhaps as soon as September.
Those cuts would be welcomed as interest rates currently sit at a 23-year high, while the Fed tries to combat inflation, making it more expensive to borrow for home, auto, and other loans.
The strain on household budgets is very real, even though prices now aren't going up as fast as they were.
In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
The Federal Reserve's goal with those higher interest rates has been to slow down inflation without raising unemployment. It might be working, but the Labor Department reported jobless claims are down, and the number of people collecting unemployment benefits overall dropped for the first time in months. And coming up now on Good Morning Northwest, a man from Wapato is sentenced to federal prison after assaulting someone in his home. We have the details on the case. And an update on the fire at the Nob Hill Auto Wrecking Company that burned about 100 cars. The reason why firefighters are saying this will burn for weeks.
And speaking of fires, today is another extreme impact fire day. I'll tell you why. Also, I'll tell you how hot it will be for this Friday. All that coming up right now.
This is Apple Valley News Now. Good Morning Northwest, on your side.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Good Morning Northwest. I'm Jessica Jalal. It's Friday, July 12th. We finally made it to Friday. Let's say happy